Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be at the SAFE Summit and talk about supply chain security and control. And this is an imminent challenge for us, imminent challenge for all of us. The context is changed. Globalization is translated into regionalization, translated into bilateral collaboration. The increasing reliance on China and other non-democratic countries for minerals and essential products. And we have the Russian-Ukraine war. And in the midst of this, we are in the transformative shifts. We are talking about energy sector, but think about the digitalization of the societies, the upcoming exponential growth in use of AI applications. So then I can go to my conclusion. Supply chain ecosystems will have to change. And massive investments in mineral extraction are required. Massive investment in mineral extraction are required to replace existing supply and to cope with the growth. So then I reached my conclusion, but the organizer has given me some more time, so I can also give some insight in who Norge Mining is, what we are contributing with in the puzzle, and why. Norge Mining is a young company. We were established in 2018 in relation to us getting licenses in South West of Norway. A world-class deposit of phosphate, vanadium, and titanium. Today we have verified a resource base of 3.7 billion tons, with a potential of being increased. Our ore is igneous, and it's the biggest ore, undeveloped ore of igneous in the world. So what does that mean, igneous? Well, that means that the minerals contain extremely low or zero heavy metal contaminations. For phosphate, that's great for fertilizer production. However, the purity of this is also very convenient for processing of high-end uses within energy and digital sectors such as batteries and electronics, with less cost, with less complexity, with less energy. Our plan is to be in operation in 2028, a decade after we started. In Norway, that's a world record. Normally, it takes 15, 20 years to get the permission. We are hopeful we are able to do this in a decade. We will apply world-leading standards for ESG and work on a responsible mine concept, combining electrification, digitalization, automation in all our processes. And I refer to Chris. We agree on all what he said on the future mine operations. We will make sure that we are the front leader of how mining operations are going to be in 2030, 2040, 2050, 2100. We firmly believe supply of minerals in the future will need to be certified on all impacts, be it environment, labor conditions, human rights, or impact on communities, in order to be competitive. In EU, all our materials are seen as critical materials. In the US, vanadium and titanium are. We believe phosphate and its derivatives should also be recognized as a critical material due to its growing importance for energy and digital transition. As a key material for lithium iron phosphate batteries, for mid-range EVs and energy storage, as well as a key component in manufacturing processes of semiconductors, solar panels, LCD panels, phosphates will see a sharp rise in demand and becoming increasingly important for the economy. Thus, it is worrying that phosphate supply chain is highly concentrated and dependent on a handful of countries: Morocco, China, Russia. Vanadium and titanium are crucial for steel, aerospace, defense industry. But in addition, vanadium is critical constituent of flow batteries, which is another technology which we see as the very interesting battery technology for long duration, large scale storage that will be increasingly important in the decarbonization. Supplies of these two critical raw materials are, however, also highly vulnerable, and similar to the case of phosphate, highly skewed towards China. The concentration of vanadium, for instance, is particularly of concern. More than 80% of global supplies represented by China and Russia. This makes the supply chains extremely fragile and vulnerable, with any disruption causing dramatic price fluctuations. And we can go back to an example in 2008, where China introduced new policies for rebar that increased domestic demand. That resulted in 10 times the price that year compared to the year before. Titanium supply chain is also highly skewed towards China. Almost 50% of the titanium sponge are produced in China. The US and its allies in Europe and globally cannot be so highly dependent on supply of critical materials for their economies. We have witnessed policies of weaponizing the supply or strengthening domestic industry by limiting export of critical materials by China and Russia. Europe has learned its lesson following the outbreak of the war in Ukraine. As allied states, we cannot make this mistake in the CRM value chains. We are already at risk. Just think about the value chains of rare earth elements and manufacturing permanent magnets that is entirely concentrated in China. We have to step up, develop secure and controlled value chains, and achieve strategic autonomy. Norge Mining offers this opportunity for 3 critical minerals indispensable for energy and digital transformation, aerospace, defense industry, food security, chemical industry. Norway, as an allied partner to the US, member of the Mineral Security Partnership, has resources and would contribute to secure supplies for many critical raw materials for many decades to come. In short, let's continue the dialogue, policy making, and collaboration to assure strategic autonomy of the allied world for critical raw material supplies with new, robust supply chain ecosystems. Thank you for your kind attention.